Like I said, I'm just a diehard Bajan, so like I like to really sell people on like, yeah, come to my island. Let me show you why you should come to the island.
This is the Lure It Up podcast, powered by Barbados Magazine, recorded at Storytime Studios, located in beautiful Barbados.
All right, so this is Ocean here again with Bazudi on the Lure It Up podcast. Here today, joined by Jus Jay himself, the biggest DJ out right now, dropping some of the hottest soca tunes in Barbados. Jus Jay, just say hello to the people for me.
What's up? What's up? What's up to all of the Instagram, TikTok, and social media verses out there? Just Jay checking into the Bazodi vibes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really want to take this opportunity to connect with you and let our listeners get a better understanding of who you are. Everybody knows the Jus Jay name, they've heard the songs, everybody's connecting with the music and they're enjoying the vibes, but we want to know the man behind the music. We want to know who Jus Jay is. So the first thing I want to ask you about today is, you've set yourself up as a real soca pillar right now. Did you start off in soca music? Is this the direction that you always saw yourself going?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I feel like I'm doing a fusion of soca and other genres as well, whether that be a fusion of soca and dancehall, a fusion of soca and Afrobeat. If you listen to the Saddest by, you can hear the influence. I've always been like a remixer. I've always been a mashup DJ kind of thing. I'm a Red Bull Tree style champ. I do this kind of stuff. So I love to like bring different worlds together. As far if I've been always doing it, I mean, yeah, I've kind of been in this industry for 17 years. I started singing in a band, strategy the band, like circa 2008 so, 2008. Yeah, and I went to the Party Monarch finals at the East Coast in 2008 as a singer. I always wanted to be in the festival. It wasn't necessarily only that I wanted to be in soca. I used to sing R&B and other stuff too, but definitely as it relates to crop over, I always wanted to be a part. I always took part in, the festivities from starting as a singer. I actually started as a break dancer. I used to be a backup dancer behind the soca artists before that, So I've literally done every aspect of it, from the ground all the way up to throwing the events and everything,
So we're getting an understanding of the fact that you have had your hands in every single aspect of this trade. You've been the dancer, the singer, the producer. You are well versed in all of this, and you started out. You have that core building. So now that you're becoming a real household name, obviously, I'm sure that you have a lot of pride in what you're doing. You feel the love. We want to know what direction you want to go in terms of your listeners and your devoted fans, what you want to bring out to them, what you want to keep giving them.
Well, for me personally, I feel like I'm the guy that always looks for angles that may be somewhat untapped. So what I want to bring to my listeners and especially to like being able to do this makes me feel like I'm on a national team of sorts for Barbados. You know what I mean? It brings me great pride to be able to represent Barbados and contribute to, one of the most world-renowned festivals of, the world.
Absolutely.
So I kind of feel like my thing in looking for differences to bring and add to the feel is definitely with the fusions, but on an even bigger scale. I feel like my job is to try to get our artists onto international platforms. So what that means is we've got soca, we've got our cultural stuff, and then what I feel has been missing, especially since the days of like Tempted to Touch by Rupi and the Rolex Gals of Alison Hines, is I feel like we've been lacking the ability to have the right commercial crossover records that could see our artists actually dipping into other markets that are more fruitful and actually just more global. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's basically what I want people to hear when they hear my sound, is like it's supposed to be for everybody to understand globally, but it's still our thing.
And I'm glad you touched on that and about that fusion, because I know right before this, I was actually talking to Luke, shout out to Luke, about the fact that you had just brought out a song. It was like a remix where you threw Grateful Coat in on a song with some overseas artists as well. So we can definitely see that you're blending those things together. You're definitely taking the Bajan identity, you're blending it with outside sources, and you're giving us a new product that we can connect with and others can connect with as well. So we love to see that. So the
Yep.
music that you've just produced for this year that we're already starting to listen to and hear. I shot text on Q last night and I saw
Oh,
Leopard and
okay.
Sadis perform their songs.
Nice.
So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about what you produced this year, how you are feeling the
Mhm.
response to it, and
Mhm.
what we can expect coming for next year based off of that,
Mhm.
because we're already feeling the platform, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, for this year, I continue to expand on what I feel like I started in 2019. In 2019, obviously, me and Lead Pipe would have had the song Sometime, which again was a blend of genres between Afrobeat and soca, and just nice, good, groovy soca. Obviously, the pandemic came around, I took a pause, and then it came out last year. And I just basically continued on what I had started. Now, last year was basically to be a showcase of a new sound and a new groove for Barbados. I wanted people to feel like they could, they didn't have to feel afraid to try to do something different. I think that it's taken me a long time to really develop somewhat an influence. And, I feel like it can take someone with a certain level of influence to really put across a sound that people don't really know or they're not confident in and tell them, look, this could be the future for you. And I think that this year I've kind of added one more because last year I did five. This year I've got six out. So I've got six tracks out this year, and I'm basically continuing to promote this new sound to add. So this new sound basically is not to take over or eliminate a sound that has been there before. It's important to kind of keep an original identity, but also to create new excitement because it's
Right.
still a business, it's still an industry.
Mhm.
So as a person who is very versed of all the areas of the business, I kind of knew that there was a need for something new to kind of get people excited about it again. And I think that it was quite successful. I mean, Holiday with Problem Child has gone around the world about 3 times over now. It's got
Correct.
about 6 or 7 million plays worldwide. And, you know,
It,
it's got a lot of Bajanism going on in it. You know what I mean? People screaming
absolutely.
out words they don't even know what it means, but it's our words. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So to answer your question, man, I feel like this year is just to continue on this vein. Let me give the people something new. Let me give the people something else that they could enjoy and love. And most importantly, feel like if I heard a Chris Brown on this or I heard a Lead Pipe on this, it sound both of them sound like they could be a Billboard charting record to me. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. I
yeah.
love that. I love taking that real, raw, authentic vision, sound,
Mhm.
and music and making it marketable for everybody, not just us, not just the niche, but for
Mhm.
the wider scope.
Exactly.
And so to touch on the wider
Exactly.
scope, then, obviously we're having this conversation miles and miles apart right now because we know that you are overseas. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing over there.
Mhm.
I have a couple of friends who actually attended the event that you were at.
Okay, advice.
And
Yeah.
I heard really,
Yeah.
really good things. So tell us a little bit about the
Mhm.
work you're doing over there right now.
Yeah, well, the first one was actually in New York week before. I was actually in London last weekend. I'm actually in Bermuda as we speak right now for
Wow.
Bermuda Carnival. Yeah, I
Okay.
move around quite often. That's why you don't see me around a lot at home. Like I come home for July, but my June is very based on the tour schedule, but also to your question is about this new brand Static, which is, a brand by a Bajan being myself, and I take it to the world. So similar to the music is like exporting something that can be understood by everyone, but is
Right.
still Bajan. So you see all the Bajans coming up with the flags there. I just did it in New York on a rooftop. I did it in London on a boat. I go to Toronto next weekend and I do it again there. And yeah, you see the Bajans coming out. We still play all kinds of music. We play all kinds of fusions of music. But most importantly, we definitely make sure to contribute and keep Bajan music running amongst the rest
Of
because
course.
I find it's very important that people hear that when you put a Bajan song next to any song in the world, that we sound just as global, we sound just as international as you do. And I feel like it helps to boost, that confidence in our Bajan sound again. So that is the Static Nation brand that I've been working on.
I love to see it. I hope to see it expand onto many more platforms and to be seeing it all around the world the same way that you're
Yeah,
pushing
man.
it because that's so important. As we keep touching on that ability to put our
Mhm.
fingerprint on everything and not make it seem like, oh, this
Yep.
is something that you have to like because it's separate. This is something that it can
Yeah,
be
man.
appreciated the same way as anything else, you know?
Mhm.
So I love to see
What I
that.
what I what I like about it too is I feel like it gives, I feel like when it comes to crop over time, people tend to think, okay, well, there's a particular style that I might not fit into artistically, so I just don't participate. I think that one of my major goals is to make sure that we actually create a room for more artistic people to join this festival and this atmosphere and be a part of it and not feel like, maybe because I'm an R&B singer, that is not my thing, like even Kai there, I'm not sure if you could see him or if he'd be in the background or what, but he's got the distress rhythm and he's got Red Royale on it and he's putting down some crazy like R&B type vocals, but there's room for it, like we need to make a space where not just soca type artists or bashment artists feel comfortable, but all artists feel comfortable contributing to the space. You know what I mean?
Correct. Absolutely. Making sure that everybody is able to take up their space, feel comfortable, and be able to put their own mark on it, all as Bajans
Yeah, man.
together, but still have their
For
own
all the
little
way,
platform.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay, so beyond static, then you touched on the fact that you are a Red Bull champion. I want to hear a little bit about the stuff that you did with the team when y'all most recently had your
Culture
win.
clash.
Right. We
Yeah.
want to hear a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. That was really important to me for a couple of reasons. The first, I'm going to start with home because obviously, it's festival time. Let me talk a little bit about the Barbadian influence of that clash. You know what I mean? First of all, I'm not a stranger to the Red Bull competitions. I'm a Red Bull three-style champion,
Correct.
two-time world finalist. I'm the Caribbean champion.
Correct.
But even bigger than that, my partner in my round of the Culture Clash was actually DJ Puffy, who is a world champion, Red Bull three-style world champion, which is like a one-up on what I even have done. You know what I mean? He would have won that in 2016. I won in 2019. And here we are in 2024 as a part of a team representing an entire region. And it's two Bajan boys, on
Correct.
stage representing the culture. That was a big moment for me. I mean, DJ Puffy is like a lifelong friend. I've known him from 5 years old.
Wow.
We toured the world. We bought each other around the world. And I always feel proud that, my brother is out there with me. And I think that this one was monumental. This was the Red Bull Culture Clash. It's not a sound clash per se, but it's a culture clash.
Yeah.
Even though it does have like elements of a sound clash, it's a clash of culture. So basically, there were a bunch of different parades of New York City, and our team represented the Labor Day Parade, or what you would call the West Indian Day Parade, which
Right.
is the Caribbean carnival of New York City, basically. And on our team. Our team comprised of Jamaicans, it comprised of Grenadians, us as Bajans, people from all over the region. We had Wyclef John come out as a surprise artist representing Haiti and New York City. We had YG Marley come out. Obviously he's got the viral TikTok sensation song. He's burning planes that catch it on fire. So he came and he did that with us. So like it was like monumental, and it was the last ever culture clash that will ever be held in the United States.
Wow.
So like we will hold that forever, you know what I mean? And
Wow.
it was a big deal. We really represent for the culture and make sure that the Barbadian flag is always represented.
And we have to remember then, based on what you're saying, the last one ever held, and the two flagship people up there running the whole thing, born and raised Bajan boys. That's not something that's a small deal. That's a big deal.
As a part of the team, yeah, because it was more than just us two, but
Right.
Yeah, we there were like 4 rounds, and our round was one where everybody was given the same song, and you had to produce actually in studio a remix and rock the crowd with it. Basically putting this rock song that they gave us into our own culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We put down some dancehall, some soca, even a little compa to represent the Haitians. And it was crazy, man. It was real cool.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that you're traveling the world right now. You say you're going to be back here. You're from about July to obviously still come on touch base for the crop over season, Kaduma, etc. coming up. Interesting. If people were to come up to you at the parties when you were performing or when you're doing your set, what's a question that you commonly get, and what is a question, something that you would like to discuss with your fans?
A question that I commonly get, let me start with that, I guess. I mean, people always ask me where I'm from. I find that these days, there are not a lot of Bajans, as DJs out here in the circuit, which, hopefully we could remedy sooner rather than later. When they see me, they often don't know where I'm from. They ask, who are you? Where are you from? I've never seen you before. And, I love that question because, I mean, I'm like I said, I feel like I'm on a national team, an unofficial national team of sorts. You know what I mean? I travel the world doing this with my flag on my back. And, it's a question that when people ask, I feel very proud to answer. Apart from that, people tend to always ask, like, yo, like, what is in your mind when you make these remixes and these productions? Like, it's always so different. I love to hear that because it tells me that I'm on the right path for the vision that I have for my sound and my music. The next part of the question was, what would I like people to ask me?
Yeah, what do you want to be able to discuss with your fans one-to-one? Like if you were just in a party, you was on a cruise or something, and somebody just approached you, say, hey, and strike up a conversation. What do you want to discuss with your fans? How would you like to connect?
Believe it or not, not just because we're on this podcast and it's like crop over time, but I love to like get the opportunity to discuss crop over with people. We're in a point in time where there's a lot of carnivals on the rise for summertime, and I feel like people have got different options and they're exploring different places. Also, like the soca community and the carnival community worldwide is actually growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And there are new people coming in that they don't even know what carnival is. And what I really love the opportunity to discuss with people is, the island and the culture and what crop over is and why you should come, what you should go to and what you should check out. Because apart from making the music, man, I'm also the one doing a lot of the events as well. You know what I mean? And my hand is in the season true and true. Like I'm very invested in the season. And like I said, I'm just a diehard Bajan. So like I like to really sell people on like, yeah, come to my island. Let me show you why you should come to the island. It's a conversation I won't shy away from at any opportunity I get to have a chat.
Absolutely. Well, to any of the powers that be listening to our podcast or anything like that, get my guy one of those jackets so that when he's in the airport, we know, get his name on the back and the flag below it. Man. We have a real Barbadian ambassador. Yeah.
The BTMI, I must say a big shout out to the BTMI because they have been a foundation for me, especially with this brand Static that I have been taking around the world. You know what I mean? They heavily support, from the time I started like really traveling out after the pandemic. I was basing in New York City a lot. And, the first thing they did was reach out just to make sure that I'm okay, like stuff like that.
Wow.
If I need anything, if I need help with anything, if I need help with maybe putting me onto a tax person because I just got my work visa. And if I needed help doing stuff, like they were there to help me as a Bajan. And I really respect that, man. They've helped me so much. They brought T-shirts to the one in London. They bring cups branded with Barbados and really helped me to, sell the vision,
That's
so
fantastic.
Big shout out to my teams, man. Yeah.
That is fantastic, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for being able to connect with us like this here. Before I send you off, and I know you have a lot going on. I didn't even know you were in Bermuda. So I know you're busy, but is there anything else you would like to let the listeners know just to be able to connect with you as a person before you head out?
Well, I mean, you could definitely find me on all socials at Jus Jay King. That's JUSJAY King. And you could definitely look up for a bunch of things I've got going on. I do events for Crop Over. I do events around the world. I'm out here spreading the music. Check out the Spotify pages and not just myself. Like, take some time to go on YouTube and thing and just learn some of the Crop Over music, man. It'll take the artists a long way. We need the help.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for connecting us here today. The listeners will really appreciate it. They had a fantastic time. I'm going to let you enjoy your trip over there in Bermuda. And thanks again, man.
No problem, man. Bless. Yeah.
All right, so you just heard from Jus Jay here on the Lower It Up podcast. We had a fantastic conversation, getting to connect with him as a person, as an artist, and as an ambassador of the culture. So we really, really appreciate him taking that time to talk to us. And we have to be looking out for him so y'all can ask him those questions when you see him out in the events this year. Look out for him and look out for us as the Basel team. We will be outside all crop over. Thanks for listening.
This episode was engineered by DJ Kai and edited by Wise Grisette of Indie Creative Podcasts.